Hey, what's up, my friends? This is David Wood. I wanted to share a message with you about the whiny Democrats and the way that they're going about impeaching Donald Trump. Now, I love the Democrats. I want to be really clear. Democrats, and I hope you forgive me for some of my very intense energy a few videos ago talking about how America's going to be destroyed or whatever. Just forgive me. And now, as they're going into a deep story time state, remembering three children talking two stories back about how the Democrats want to get Donald Trump out of the White House because of their whiny crybaby nonsense about how whiny crybaby nonsense about the greatest president the United States has ever had. Nobody's ever done as stellar of a job of doing thing after thing after thing as Donald Trump has. He just, they've been good at other things. You know what I mean? Leaking money from America. Perhaps they've been good at. Abraham Lincoln, I think, was a fantastic president. I think, George Washington, you know, and all the other candidates that arose. For example, Joseph Smith actually was running for president, and then he got murdered in the middle of his political campaign. And he would have liberated slavery from America in a way more peaceful way than what Abraham Lincoln did. He was the first presidential candidate in history that was opposed to slavery. A lot of people don't know that about the Prophet Joseph Smith. But then, America essentially would have turned into a kingdom, and then, we wouldn't have the story that we have now, which is better for everyone in the end. Well, no, not really. So, in any case, a little bit. Let me explain a little bit about why we need simplicity and why we need peace and why we need love and why we need righteousness in society. It's because people want to not honor their president now because of this or that, but still, fundamentally, if they're American citizen, he is their president. I've heard American citizens say he's not my president, and it's like, actually, yeah, he is your president. And when you dishonor, let me explain something. When you dishonor somebody who is doing their best, and I believe that he's actually doing his best or close to his best. I mean, he's doing his best that I've ever seen. Then I think that there's great room for forgiveness for mistakes, right? And so let me explain a little bit about the danger of America, the danger that can come to America if I encourage share this video on Facebook too, by the way. Let me tell you a little bit about. Hold on, I'm gonna. No, somebody give me the link in the comments, and then I'll post it on my Facebook as well. I'll do it later. I'll actually do it when I'm done. It's fine, but I encourage you to share it. So let me explain a little bit about what could theoretically happen to America if Donald Trump got removed from president. There's a lot of problems going on in America right now that are way beyond the dumb impeachment trials. For example, the wall between the United States and Mexico, it needs to be built. It just needs to be done in a way that protects the land and protects the borders. The reason is because it's very possible in the future for a war to erupt between the United States and Mexico if the economies of one or the other or both ever collapsed, which is actually the evil plan of the central bankers. I think everybody knows this, is that if they collapse the economy and then all your money is just in the streets, then what people do is they start running around. There's cannibalism. It happened in Venezuela. There's all sorts of nonsense. You'd be like, that'll never happen in America. Yeah, it will. I promise. It'll happen. And so it's prophesied. This stuff is prophesied to happen. It talks about it in the book of Revelation, actually, all the way through. And it talks about it in the Leviticus 26, Deuteronomy 28, it talks about it. So it actually is going to happen. And so there's nothing people can really do to stop it from happening because not enough is other than repent. So they can actually stop it from happening because if they repent, this stuff will never happen to them. But if they don't repent, God casts them into great tribulation. And then even the righteous can get caught in the great tribulation because of the lack of repentance of the wicked. Does this make sense? And so let me explain a little bit about. So let's talk about theory here. So it's like there's a defined crime of like treason, for example. I just watched this great video that was sent to me by Eric McNabb, and he sent me this video about this. I think it was a Democrat leader, but this guy was talking about the definition of treason, and it comes actually from the Constitution. Like, so high crimes in places, and this is what they can do to impeach a president. However, to actually get him out of office, he has to lose the support of his party. Okay, so right now he hasn't lost the support of his party. The Democrats, they all voted for it except for two. However, 0 of the Republicans voted for it. So the likelihood of that going into the Senate and then Donald Trump not in the Senate, or the Republicans turning on him, right, is very low because the Republicans love Donald Trump. So I have a better solution for this. Actually, this is my better solution. This is my better solution to the problem for President Donald J. Trump, who I know watches my videos in the night mostly. My better solution for Donald Trump is my better solution for him, the better one. I'll put my feet on this battery here. The better solution for Donald Trump is there we go. I got a little pop in the back. Is that he apologizes, right? Like, Donald Trump actually apologizes quite often. When he makes a mistake and he can admit it, he apologizes. He can't admit all of his mistakes. He's like all of us. He gets caught up in pride occasionally, and then he has to be brought back to his knees. This is the pride and the righteousness cycle. But mostly, he's actually a very humble person. You say, what do you mean? He works, he prays, he submits to God, he talks to rabbis, you know what I mean? And then he gets cocky, and then he gets caught up in pride, and then God brings him down a little bit so he can repent. So this is my opinion about it. If he simply apologized and did something crazy, like, for example, got up on top of the White House and with a microphone and just told everybody about all the wrong stuff he's ever done, and then maybe at the end barked like a dog and meowed like a kitten. I mean, I think that America would think it was so funny that he actually admitted his mistakes that everybody would just forgive him. You know what I mean? Because they're like, this is what they want. They just want him to admit that he makes mistakes and, be a little bit more authentic and, everything like that. So in my opinion, he's very authentic because this is actually how he is. He's like this. This is the real thing about authenticity is people being themselves. Donald Trump is very, very, very himself. He's very, very, very himself, right? Donald J. Trump is. And so, again, I think he should just get up on top of the White House, tell everybody what he did with the megaphone, and then maybe that could even set a precedent where criminals can come and confess what they did in front of everyone, right? And then their jail time or their punishments get exponentially reduced, or society just simply forgives them, like they do in addict groups when addicts, confess. I've had addicts confess things to, talk to me about that. You know what I mean? Like, I had this guy. He said, I went to this Narcotics Anonymous group in Costa Rica once, and this guy said that he's like, I can't even. This is what he said. He said, I can't even count the people that have confessed to me murder. And maybe he did that, you know what I mean? But like that's why. But my point is with this is that in the addict groups, what people do is they simply forgive each other because all the shit comes out privately. But then sometimes you need to put it publicly, like it says in the New Testament that if you in the last days, people will declare their sins on the housetops. Maybe that precedent needs to be set by King Donald. I do it with them. I go to the White House with them, and I'd grab a microphone, you know what I mean? And I'd say, hey, I did a whole bunch of stuff. I've told everybody here what I've done. You know what I mean? I've told everybody on YouTube and everybody on Facebook what I've done because I'm so honest and I'm so authentic with everything. And so what happens is that when you're authentic, the problems actually go away. Now, what do people not like about Donald Trump? Let me explain some of the things that they actually don't like about him that create, for example, imbalances perhaps in society. So some things that they don't like about him are like, for example, the way that he is with nature. They don't like it. That he's just about business, 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 business. That's what it seems to them. This is actually not quite true. He just understands that freedom produces businesses that takes care of the environment, and he's about freedom and toning down the regulations to make it so people can move faster. Because when people move faster, a lot of times they do things right. However, yeah, if there's less regulations and stuff like that, I mean, maybe everybody would participate in the cleanup of the trash dumps and everything like that, right? Nobody knows what to do with all this trash and with all this crap that everybody's just dumping in these giant things. So, like, people are very worried about the future state of America right now. But, like, let me tell you theoretically what could happen here. And I'm maybe be like 5, 10 more minutes, and then I gotta go because I gotta walk into town, deposit some money in my bank account. Got some clients and stuff in the bank. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. So what happens is that I like to walk into town. By the way, it's like an hour and a half walk or something. I love it. I love it. Everybody's like, "Oh, I don't like to walk. I don't like to walk," but I love walking. Walking's awesome. All right, so let me explain a little bit about. Let me explain a little bit about how to do things right with this. So first of all, he just tells everybody what he did wrong. Like, just say, "Hey, look, I made a mistake. I sincerely apologize. You know, can we do something to help? Get America back in order and get America more unified, and maybe create a little bit more unification between the Democrats and the Republicans. I think that the problem is it's been this us versus them this whole time, and maybe we need a little bit more unity. What can we do to create some unity? What can we do to work together? What do you want? Here's what we want. Let's negotiate. You know what I mean? Like, I know that you don't like me. I'm really obnoxious and stuff like that. And by the way, I love to be obnoxious. But and I told him, I sent this message to Whitehouse, and I said I was going to try to get on the news on Halloween. And here's the thing: is like the Fox News, the dumb Fox News. I just think it's all stupid, to be honest with you, because it's just like this us versus them, pathetic, whiny, crybaby nonsense. When we really have a real enemy, and a real them, and a real us. The us is humans, and the real enemy are the people that are not humans. Okay, so you know we got a real enemy here. This is actually the problem, right? Actually, in Gaia, they just actually scientifically they discovered genetically a real extraterrestrial. Okay, go Gaia videos on YouTube. Actually, not Gaia. It's in Peru. This extraterrestrial was discovered. It was probably a Nephilim or something like this, but it's actually genetically it is not connected to anything whatsoever at all on the Earth. Okay, and so now all the people that are doubting about UFOs or whatever, there's actually biological proof that is public that aliens are real. And so we've actually got real problems. And the problem, and I've been warning people about this for a very long time. What'll happen to America is America's economy is stressed out. Everyone's stressed out. They're all running to and fro. They're all working second jobs. They're losing all of their money because they're not tithing. Central bankers are leaking money out of society. And then what happens is that you lose a leader. And then what happens is that what they do is they try to make it look like it's his fault. And then they collapse the economy, right? And then what happens is the economic collapse has money in the streets and buckets of money in the streets, and then everybody loses everything that they've ever had. And then where are all of your legacies? Well, if you don't have gold and silver and real assets, you don't have any legacies at that point. It's all zero. Everything's reset at that point. So do we want this to happen to America? I don't think that anybody here wants anything like this to ever happen to America. I don't think that anybody likes anything like this to happen to America. Therefore, it's a better thing if we don't want, see, the central bankers, they want chaos. Now, if you don't like Donald, right, I'll tell you, he listens to me. He listens to me. I talked about something on my channel. He immediately changes it, right? Donald, I'm sorry I didn't get on the news. I probably should have called the other news station or something like this, right? And I'll try to all over. It's the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November. I think that what'll happen is that Happy Guy Fawkes Day, by the way. What happens is that Guy Fawkes Day. It's the creepiest holiday you ever seen over in England, but they all think it's awesome. 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 What they're doing to America. What are they doing to America? Hey, what's up, Subliminal? Good to see you. What are they doing to America? They're robbing America of their money. They're robbing America of their gold and silver. They're robbing America. So a lot of people, for example, in California, they do not like Donald Trump whatsoever. And they don't like him for a reason. There's a reason they don't like him in California. It's because they're trying to protect the environment there. And they understand that if there's not regulations, that in 1,000 years, California just is like nothing but walled cities and, deserts. That's what California understands. I think in New York City, a lot of them don't like Donald. I think a lot of them do. He's the king in New York City, I'll tell you that. But I think that I think there's a balance there. A lot of people like him, a lot of people don't like him. Donald McDonald is the best president. We should build the wall and legalize all drugs. Of course we can, because if we legalize all drugs, then what happens is that people get to choose for themselves. And if they destroy themselves, they destroy themselves. Now, there's certain drugs that should be destroyed. For example, this stuff in Africa that is like this, I'm not even going to repeat it. It eats the flesh away. It turns people into like living zombies, living dead. And there's people in Africa doing that. There's amphetamines, and all this stuff needs to be utterly destroyed from off the face of the earth. All the unnatural things. So I think all natural drugs should be legalized. That's what I think. Anything that comes from plant substances, no cartels and no gangs doing drug smuggling. This is true. So I mean, you can legalize amphetamines and make people get some sort of doctor's prescription or something like this for it. It's fine. But it's not really fine because it destroys the brain, and then that sends a society with a destroyed brain into a situation where everything around them gets destroyed because they didn't take care of the people around them. So there's a balance. Amphetamines are not good for society whatsoever, right? I might be able to sort of convince the drug cartels to just stop selling amphetamines because everything else is legal. I'll be like, look, we'll make everything else legal if you stop this behavior. Right? And then this behavior gets punished by the death penalty. That's actually a better way to do it. That's a better way to shut down amphetamines. Right? My point is with this is that, yeah, the natural drugs are fine because they heal the brain. Plant substances, they're the most healing thing to the brain ever. Look at all the shamans and all their stories. Look at me, all these people. Now, they got their own problems too, I think, the shamans, but that's my opinion. So, and I'll heal them later, but it takes some time to heal them because I got to unlock all this damage that's done to them from the human sacrifice in Peru. You know what I mean? There's a great liberation that needs to happen for the shamans, and I'll hallmark that later with my friends. And so what happens is that uh, if uh, if you want to understand how to do things right, right? Heroin should be legalized so that people can come down easier a 7-day meth binge that's medical use. Yeah, okay, whatever. I don't understand it, but I don't think I don't like if you're gonna take heroin, okay, which again, if somebody wants to do what they want to do, they can do it if it's in some sort of safe environment. You know what I mean? But I don't like it because it's a concentrated substance. It's much better if you just take the leaves, the poppy leaves or whatever they are, and you just eat them if you had them. Because if you ate those leaves, right, they're balanced with plant substances, particularly if you ate the stems and the leaves. That balances it out. They're unconcentrated, and therefore, and maybe do it once a week or something. Therefore, you don't have to depend on it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah. Some people say that when hard drugs are legalized, they're less afraid to seek help because they won't be legally implicated. Exactly. Right? That's Kevin Johnson. That's exactly true. Because if you allow people to do it and you legalize it, but it's got to be legalized in some kind of environment, right? Some kind of controlled environment. Because amphetamines. Let me explain what amphetamines will do to society. They'll create monsters. That's what they'll actually do to immortal people. Okay. Look how berserk I acted when I got drugged 2 years and a half ago against my knowledge, and how berserk I acted and how crazy I acted. Right, those of you that remember it, and the majority of you are starting to forget anyway. Uh, that was what amphetamines will do to our mortal people. So mortal people and mortal people, they're two different kinds of people. Okay, you don't want all of society acting like that. They're very dangerous to the consciousness. And then what happens is because people's consciousness is getting shut down, more deceptions enter in, and then they have potential to get marked by the beast. Okay? Like, I would not put kids on medication unless they need it to survive, not brain medication. No way. Nope. Teach them how to heal it out of their brain through math, through writing with the right hand and left hand, by doing art, by doing martial arts, right? Teach them to control it through meditation, like a Buddhist would do. Master it. Bipolar energy is a great source of power. Okay? I have a little bit of bipolar energy. Yeah. You acted whatever amphetamines did to you. That's what many people went through, but they didn't record it live. Now everyone is flaming you for that because you didn't hide that. Well, yeah. And I never hide anything. But I also didn't know I was on it either. I was getting like, that was enough to like kill like 10 people there, and I didn't even know it was there. Right. So what happened is that it took me 2.5 years because I've never taken crystal meth ever in my life. I hate it. I'd kick somebody out of my house if they brought that stuff in the house. Bam, and kick it out. People mistake my powerful energy for thinking that I'm on something like that, but no, this is powerful immortal energy. So my point is with all this is that we have real enemies here, okay, real enemies, and this isn't funny. We need to unite for the first time. That's my job. However, right now Donald Trump can be a good hallmark for that because if he figured out, he did something hilarious. Yeah, crimes they get money for is what destroys them. Okay, whatever. That happens to me too. Must happen to you a lot. I believe in you, David, and understand some of the mechanics of spiritual energy. I disagree. I think heroin use does destroy lives. Actually, people choosing to use it destroys their lives because they get addicted to it. And but if somebody had like a microdose, maybe I don't think that would really damage somebody that much. Very small microdose, as long as they didn't take any. And then they went off for 3 days and then 4 days off or something like that. It'd be fine. You know. Might imbalance you a little bit. But I think you should eat the leaves, is what I think you should do. Eating the leaves is fine. Eating the stems is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. My point is, back to Donald Trump. So this impeachment thing that's going on, they want to kick him out of office. And some of the stuff he has done is wrong. It's fine. It's fine to actually admit when you're wrong and simply apologize. Simply say, hey, I'm sorry. I proved that over a long period of time. That if you just keep saying you're sorry, people will eventually forgive you. Okay? They'll eventually just forgive you. If you just keep saying you're sorry, people will eventually forgive you. It's much better to admit that you're wrong. Okay? For example, all this nonsense with me and World Ventures would just go away if they just admitted they were wrong. That's all they need to do. Admit they're wrong and fix it somehow. It's not a bad thing to prevent their company from utterly collapsing and being destroyed from off the face of the earth. I mean, so my point is with this is you should apologize, and people they forgive you eventually. You apologize. That's what you do, right? So again, people are like mad at sociopathy and bipolar energy and stuff like this, but bipolar energy is actually a source of a person's greatest power to defend themselves. And what happens with the bipolar person, particularly, they get triggered and then they flip out and it's another person because this is duality. So this is actually there to drive them towards enlightenment. That's actually why bipolar energy is there. It's a constant fight for enlightenment, even after somebody's enlightened. Bipolar energy is much easier to heal by doing math and by writing with the right hand and the left hand, tracing backwards, right? Over a period of 2 years, 3 years, you'll learn to control it. But then you can still use it when you need to use it. Because bipolar energy is extremely powerful to protect yourself. Extremely. When I was in the hospital in Costa Rica, I got diagnosed a little bit with bipolar. Right? I have a little bit bipolar energy. But I don't have massive bipolar energy. It's like a little. You know what I mean? But it can really wig out if I don't keep my spirituality careful. So I need to so what do? I don't take medicine for it. I just, spirituality. Spirituality is what does it. Right? Spirituality is actually what does it. Does that make sense? So spirituality corrects that energy. You actually don't need your energy to be corrected. Okay? By anything else but spiritual practices, including proper use of food and nutrients. These are all spiritual practices. Spiritual power practices corrects everything. So America is broken because America is broken because people don't listen to each other. So yeah, my suggestion again, I'm going to be keeping this very short. I talked way longer than I thought. My suggestion is just admit it, and people will forgive you if you do it in the right way. And ask the judge for some kind of deal if you just say, hey, if I just go and do something like get on top of the White House and like bark like a dog or whatever, and tell everybody all the dumb stuff I've ever done and all the people I've ever hurt and everything like that, and like make a big list about it and just admit it. And then see if we can figure out something to get the Democrats and the Republicans working together to keep America safe, because I've had many people telling me from private sources that there's a very severe war that's coming to America and we got to protect them, and nobody else knows about it, so they don't know what I'm doing because they don't know about this. Right? And if you say that to people, if you tell people that, okay, then what will happen is people start preparing for the war, which is necessary right now. And it's okay, for example, but you don't want chaos, you tell people like, we're going to get safe sources and recommend those for food storage and stuff like this. I encourage you to get weapons, and prepare. People need to prepare in America for what's going on. So what happens is then the Democrats, because he's not being a jerk, they maybe forgive him a little bit, and his support goes back up from the Democrat and the Republican Party. Okay? And then just say, hey, look, I won't do it again, okay? I've learned my lesson. This has been very tough for me. Maybe fake a tear, Donald. Just fake a tear a little. Does he ever cry? Yeah, I think he cries. Yeah. So I've been praying for you, Donald, with my little home altar back there. Check it out. It's getting bigger. I got a little thing. I found a pizza box and it looked like my son. It was under a tree. Somebody just littered it, and then I just picked it up and like put it by my altar because it looks like Gabriel. I'm gonna put pictures of my family around there. You know. All right. Appreciate you.